Dragon Ball Daily Gift Pack Chapter 261-280. 261. Fighting Evil Monsters Together, 1/6. The Demon Lord. It's the Demon Lord. Next to Yi Chu is the Demon Lord. How did the Demon Lord come here? At this time, Kai Touch also saw the Demon Lord standing beside Yi Chu, and shouted in disbelief. The long-disappeared Demon Lord appeared here, which made them feel a little joyful in their hearts, because they knew in their hearts that the strength of the Demon Lord was extremely terrifying. What surprised them even more was that Yi Chu was standing beside the Demon Lord at this time, and his status didn't seem to be much lower than that of the Demon Lord. Yi Chu, how can you stand by the Lord's side? What do you want to do? Bai Hua opened his mouth and asked Yi Chu. After hearing Bai Hua's words, Yi Chu turned his head and gave Bai Hua a cold look. At this time, Yi Chu's strength had improved a lot, so Yi Chu was also better than Bai Hua. Hua Chang, I don't know how much. Yi Chu just gave Bai Hua a cold look and didn't say anything, but Yi Chu's glance seemed to see the inside of Bai Hua's heart, which made Bai Hua feel a little crisis in his heart, as if Yi Chu had a look can kill themselves. Bai Hua was very frightened in his heart. He didn't expect that after such a period of time, Yi Chu would look like a different person, so Bai Hua couldn't figure out why. Who the hell are you? Did you hide your identity before? At this time, Kai Touch watched Yi Chu speak, and he thought of something in his heart, but he couldn't think of the specific thing. Yi Chu didn't speak, because after a while they were fighting, these people would know the truth of the matter. Stop talking nonsense, everyone, stand aside, now I'm going to deal with the evil monster with Yi Chu. At this time, the Demon Lord opened his mouth. After hearing the words of the Demon Lord, everyone became a little overjoyed. The Demon Lord and Yi Chu came here to make their hearts feel a little more stable, especially it was before, and they were completely desperate in their hearts. The Demon Lord and Yi Chu came at the right time, just like their saviors. There was not a single moment when the hearts of those present so hoped for the arrival of the Demon Lord. It seems that you have long known about these things, Master. You must have been prepared long ago, and it was your design plan that brought us in. At this time, Chihu also flattered the Lord of Demons and said. After hearing Chituch's words, the Lord of Demons didn't say anything, but turned his head and looked at the evil monster closely. 95% of the chains on the evil geek have been broken, and it seems that the momentum on his body has also begun to explode. Yi Chu, come on, let's attack this evil monster. He hasn't completely escaped. We entered the Golden Room and attacked him. The Demon Lord said this. The reason for doing this is because after they entered the Golden House, their attack power was the greatest. If you stand outside the Golden House and attack, the Golden House not only traps the evil monsters, but also helps the evil monsters block some attacks from outside. A little bit of the cause of the injury. Well, since that's the case, let's attack. Yi Chu opened his mouth, and then Yi Chu took out his own sharpening sword. When Yi Chu took out the sharpening sword, the Demon Lord was also very surprised, and the Demon Lord also discovered the sharpening sword. Precious. And Bai Hua also widened his pupils. Before, Bai Hua was very moved by Yi Chu's divine sword, and then when he saw Yi Chu taking out the divine sword, Bai Hua was in his heart. It is the kind of heart-warming flame that goes out. Because all kinds of deeds at this time showed that Yi Chu's true identity might be very scary, so Bai Hua didn't dare to think about it. Immediately afterwards, Yi Chu and the Demon Lord entered the Golden Room. After Yi Chu and the Demon Lord entered the Golden Room, all the people around were watching Yi Chu and the Demon Lord. There my heart also became a little rushed. Now Yi Chu and the Demon Lord were their last hope. They were afraid that Yi Chu and the Demon Lord would die immediately after entering the Golden Room, so they were very nervous. Question mark 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 question mark. After Yi Chu and the Demon Lord entered the Golden Room, the evil eccentric looked at Yi Chu after the Demon Lord entered, and his expression became even more hideous, although the evil monster did not break free from the seal in the Golden Room at this time. but he can also perform some attacks when he is in the golden room. Immediately afterwards, the evil monster rushed towards Yichu and the Demon Lord, and Yichu and the Demon Lord also began to attack. The momentum on the Demon Lord's body began to rise, and the airflow around him began to surge, swept away into the Demon Lord's body, and then another airflow erupted from the Demon Lord's body, and he swept the surrounding area. The energy gathered in his body, and then condensed into a group of very condensed energy, and then gathered in his hands. Yichu held his own divine sword in his hand, and then Yichu took the divine sword and stabbed the evil monster. Yichu's divine sword seemed to pierce the air, dividing the space into two parts. The two halves are the same. In an instant, the Demon Lord Yichu came to the side of the evil monster, and the Demon Lord was a little worried in his heart, afraid that Yichu would be no match for the evil monster. When the evil monster and Yichu were about to attack, Yichu's aura also began to rise, and Yichu also instantly activated his Super Race God transformation. Super Saiyan 4 transformations. Yichu shouted in a low voice, and then Yichu's whole body began to rise a little bit, and then his hair and body also changed a bit. The whole person seems to exude an invisible momentum, and this momentum seems to make everyone surrender under his body. Seeing Yichu like this, Demon Lord also became a little surprised in his heart. He didn't expect Yichu to have such a transformation, and his strength increased several times. After seeing Yichu's transformation like this, the faces of the surrounding masters of grinding people also began to change greatly. At this time, after seeing Yichu's transformation, they realized that Yichu was not a person in their demon universe. 8. 262. The High Mountains 2/6. Who is he? He is not our devil at all, why did he follow us here? At this time, Chi-Chi shouted loudly, and Chi-Chi's words were also the inner voice of everyone. Beihua, you brought Yichu here. Do you know where he came from? Do you know what race he is? At this time, Chihu asked Beihua. After hearing Chihu's question, Beihua also became silent. Beihua raised his brows, and then suddenly realized what he thought. Yichu may have come from the Dragon Ball universe. Didn't you hear that news before? It's just that you didn't really believe it at the time. At this time, Feng Yi stood up and said. After hearing Feng Yi's words, everyone's expressions changed greatly. How is 340s possible? Yichu actually came from the Dragon Ball universe, and there is actually such a strong person in the Dragon Ball universe. When he opened his mouth, his complexion also changed greatly, and the people around him became a little scared, because they sent someone to attack the Dragon Ball universe before, so it can be said that they have some hatred with the Dragon Ball universe. But at this time, Yichu's strength was also good news for them, so they suppressed the shock in their hearts and quietly watched Yichu and the Demon Lord attack the evil monster. I saw Yichu was holding the divine sword in his hand, and an invisible and powerful airflow was flowing on the sword, and then he slashed the evil monster fiercely. After Yichu slashed over with his sword, a little wound appeared on the evil monster's body. At this time, the body attack of the Demon Lord also fell on the body of the evil monster. The Demon Lord holds a ball of light in his hand. The energy in this ball of light is very huge, and the Demon Lord is also holding it in his hand. With this ball of light, the body of the evil monster was photographed. Immediately afterwards, a blood hole was blasted out of the evil monster. That's great, the Demon Lord and Yichu have already attacked the evil monster and caused him some injuries. It might not be long before he is killed. At this time, Beihua was also a little happy in her heart. She said this, and when she heard Baihua's words, all the demons around were excited and looking forward to it. Ow! Suddenly, the evil monster raised his head and roared wildly, and then something shocked Yichu's heart. I saw before that, Yichu held the divine sword in his hand and caused some wounds on the evil monster's body, and the Demon Lord also used his own attack to punch a blood hole in the evil monster's body. But the strange thing is that there is no blood flowing out of the evil monster's body. What's even more surprising is that the flesh and blood cells of the body that were beaten by the evil monsters flew towards the body of the evil monsters again, and then they began to combine again and converged into the evil monster's body, and soon the body of the evil monster began to recover as before. When I saw this scene, the surrounding demons were also very surprised. The vitality of each of them is very huge, but the vitality of evil monsters can be said to be even more than the vitality of their demon family. Powerful. The evil monsters easily defeated them in the place where the demon clan were most proud of. Damn, what kind of monster is this? How can his recovery ability be so powerful, even stronger than our demon clan? How to defeat him in this case? Chi-Chi opened his mouth and said, his complexion also began to change greatly. At this time, the Lord of Demons also frowned. Although the Lord of Demons frowned, he was not very surprised, because the Lord of Demons had fought against evil monsters before, and he also understood evil monsters. Of resilience. Yi-Chu, don't worry, although it doesn't look like he has any injuries, but what I used just now was a move aimed at the vitality in his body, so he was actually slightly injured. At this time, the Demon Lord opened his mouth. After hearing the Demon Lord say this, Yi-Chu also nodded. Well, I know the Lord of Demons, and my sword caused a little injury to his body, but caused more damage to his soul, so we can definitely kill the evil monster. Yi-Chu opened his mouth, and after hearing Yi-Chu's words, the Demon Lord also sensed it, and found that it was indeed what Yi-Chu said, and his heart became a little surprised. At this time, the evil monster had some pain, and then the evil monster's attack also came towards the Demon Lord and Yi-Chu Luo. The evil monster raised his claws. His moves looked very simple, but they possessed inexplicable power. He didn't need to use any attacking supernatural powers. Heart is also very surprised. When he saw the evil monster attacking, Yi-Chu also raised his sword, and quickly blocked the evil monster's attack. Then, at this time, the claws of the evil eccentric slapped the divine sword in Yi-Chu's hand. At this time, a very powerful force flowed from the palm of the evil eccentric, and this force was directly transmitted to Yi-Chu's body. Yi-Chu was beaten by this force and kept retreating, and even his chest felt a little dull. At this time, the Demon Lord was also shot back a little by the evil monster. Yi-Chu, be careful about the power of this evil monster. Compared to his vitality, the most powerful part of this evil monster is his strength. At this time, the Demon Lord almost protruded a mouthful of blood, turned his head and said to Yi-Chu, 1.1 Hearing the Demon Lord say this, Yi-Chu also nodded. The Demon Lord originally thought that Yi-Chu would be a little scared, but now the Demon Lord found that Yi-Chu's face was very calm, which made the Demon Lord also a little surprised in his heart. He didn't know why Yi-Chu was like this. This was because Yi-Chu still had his own trump cards that he hadn't shown yet. Freedom in the field of extreme willpower. Yi-Chu spoke lightly, and then an invisible aura began to permeate around Yi-Chu, and when this invisible aura spread out, Yi-Chu's whole person's temperament seemed to be even more supreme. Stand up. These masters around looked at Yi-Chu's temperament changes, as if they saw a mountain that made them daunted. 263. Cut evil monsters, 3/6. After Yi-Chu displayed the domain of extreme intent, Yi-Chu could be said to be the absolute master in the area around him. Therefore, it also created an illusion in the hearts of the masters around him, as if Yi-Chu was the most supreme being in this world. When the Demon Lord saw Yi-Chu like this, he was also a little shocked in his heart. He didn't expect Yi-Chu to have such a backhand. That's great, Yi-Chu. I didn't expect you to have a domain like this. It's really amazing. Maybe we can eradicate evil monsters in one fell swoop. The Demon Lord looked surprised, and at this time, there was a clack sound from the side. The Demon Lord turned his head, and his complexion also changed a bit, because at this time, the Demon Lord found that the chains on the evil monster had been broken by 90%, and the momentum of the evil monster was incomparably huge. Yi-Chu, hurry up, we have to kill him as soon as possible, otherwise after a few minutes, maybe the evil monster will completely break the seal, and even if he can't beat us, he may escape. In that case, it will cause a very large catastrophe in the universe. Quote. The Demon Lord opened his mouth, and his heart also became a little anxious. After the demon lord said this, Yichu also nodded, and then Yichu held the divine sword in his hand and began to slowly move towards the evil monster walked over. On his body was also broken 90%, and he became a little more confident in his heart, and the evil monster rushed towards Yichu. At this time, Yichu looked at the evil monster, and he found that although the evil monster was powerful, it seemed more like a beast. Yichu's heart was incomparably quiet. When he saw the evil monster rushing towards him, Yichu also slowly raised his divine sword, and then the evil monster entered Yichu's domain, and Yichu also slowed down. Slowly close your eyes. After Yichu closed his eyes, in his spiritual world, it seemed that there was only one existence, the evil monster. Immediately afterwards, the demon lord continued to attack the evil monster. He wanted to attack the evil monster together with Yichu. At this time, before the attack of the demon master fell on the body of the evil eccentric, I saw a dazzling sword light suddenly flashed, and the sight of this light also amazed the eyes of everyone around. It seems to be the first glimpse of light in the morning, and it also seems to be the sad setting sun in the evening. A bright light flashed quickly, and then Yichu slowly put down his divine sword. At this time, the demon lord was also stunned in place. Crack! I saw the evil monster's body suddenly filled with cracks, followed by a very long bloodline from the evil monster's head to the soles of his feet. Yichu actually used this blow to cut the evil monster in half with the divine sword. Immediately afterwards, the body of the evil monster split apart. When the evil monster's body split apart, he also died completely, because Yichu was holding a strengthened divine sword, and the divine sword was right for this spirit. It has a very powerful attack, so although the life of the evil monster is extremely powerful, Yichu's sword used to completely wipe out the vitality of the evil monster. Freedom in the realm of extreme will. If you enter around my realm, I am the absolute master. Yichu slowly put down the divine sword in his hand, and said softly. After hearing Yichu say this, the demon lord next to him froze slightly. This is indeed the case, and the reason why Yichu can kill the evil monster so easily is also because the evil monster has great strength, but he doesn't have much IQ, so he has entered Yichu's free and extreme realm recklessly. Inside, Yichu easily killed him if he said that. If it were another person, he would definitely not step into Yichu's free-spirited realm. In the Yichu's Zige domain, Yichu could be said to be the real master. If he wanted to defeat Yichu in this domain, it could be said that it was countless times more difficult than outside. Yichu, you killed the evil monster like this. The demon lord opened his mouth, and he felt a little unbelievable in his heart, but the demon lord seemed to think about it for a while. Yichu also understood in his heart that the reason why Yichu could kill the evil monster like this was because the evil monster recklessly entered Yichu in the field of the free extreme willpower. As long as he didn't enter the field beside Yichu, Yichu definitely didn't have the time to defeat the evil monster. The other masters around were also very shocked. They originally thought that Yichu and the demon lord would work together to deal with evil monsters, but Yichu was just a helper. They didn't expect Yichu's time to be so strong. Thinking of this, Baihua felt a little scared in his heart, because Baihua wanted to deal with Yichu before, but at this time Baihua also felt a little fortunate in his heart. Fortunately he didn't deal with Yichu before. Otherwise he might have been beheaded by Yichu long ago. How did Baihua know in his heart that Yichu had also increased his strength many times in recent times, and it was only to this point. Ha ha ha, we survived, 630 is really good. At this time, there was also a loud laugh next to him. Baihua turned his head over and found that it was Chi-Chi. Chi-Chi looked very crazy at this time, because he was very happy in his heart, and when he was very happy, he looked good. Like crazy. In the past, he thought that he had no hope, and did not expect to turn around. Suddenly Yichu and the Lord of the Demons appeared, beheading the evil monsters to give him life. And after Kai-Touch survived this time, he cherished his life even more in his heart, and Kai-Touch also decided that when he returned to the demon universe again, he must do a lot of things. He left a lot of regrets for himself. Although his current status is very high, he actually has a lot of regrets in his heart. When he saw Yi Chogo really beheading the evil monster, the demon lord was standing next to him, and his mood gradually calmed down, but there was still a little shock in his heart. Immediately afterwards, the demon lord stepped forward and cleaned the body of the evil monster. I saw a flame spread out from the hand of the demon lord. This flame was between the illusory and the real, and burned to the evil monster. At the time, the body of the evil monster began to slowly dissipate. 264. Exiled Yujie, 4/6. The surrounding demon supreme were all looking at Yi Chu at this time, and their eyes were very complicated. He did not expect that Yi Chu's strength was so powerful, it seemed to be stronger than that of Demon Lord. The Demon Lord was also looking at Yi Chu at this time, and his eyes flashed with light, and the Demon Lord also admired Yi Chu very much in his heart. Well, this time we have successfully killed the evil monster, so we can go back. The Demon Lord opened his mouth, and after hearing what the Demon Lord said, the people around nodded, and there was some joy in their eyes, because they had always been scared here. As long as they return to the demon universe, then they can relax. When they thought of the demon universe, they also became a little bit looking forward to it in their hearts. After this incident, they also cherished their previous life even more, even if they touched them. Thank you Lord Yi Chu for saving us, let's go out now. Kai Touch came over and said, at this time, he was very sincere when facing Yi Chu. After hearing what Chituch said, the Demon Lord also nodded. Immediately afterwards, the Demon Lord took everyone out of this secret realm. At this time, the demon universe outside was still a black flame, the darkness inside the universe was extremely deep, and at this time, the beings in the demon universe had already entered a state of sleep. But not all of them are in a state of sleep, and some are looking up at the universe. Because in the recent period of time, the 6 great demon supremes in the demon universe have entered the secret realm and have not come out for a long time, so the people in the demon universe are a little worried. At this time, there was also news in the demon universe, saying that those masters who entered the secret realm and encountered danger, they may have died. I don't know where this news came from, but after this news came out, it also caused panic in the universe. How can the 6 great devils be so powerful that they enter that secret realm and die? Maybe they just gained a lot in that secret realm, and they are reluctant to come out for a while. Some people think this way in their hearts, but as time goes by, everyone feels that something is wrong in their hearts. In the past few days, the undercurrent in the demon universe seems to be even more turbulent. In the demon universe, in addition to the 6 great demon supremes, there are also several masters whose strength is not inferior to the 6 great demon supremes. They have been hiding in the dark, I don't know what to do, and some people are also excited at this time. On this night, a fire lit up not far from the palace of the 6 great demons, and then thousands of troops came here. It turned out that someone wanted to capture their territory when the 6 great demon supremes were not there. And a master led by this group of people, his name is Yu. Yu's strength is very powerful, even stronger than the strength of the 6 great devils. In the past, the reason why he was not ranked among the 6 great devils was because he was dominated by the devils before. Exile is fine. In the past, Yu could be said to be the number 1 master under the Demon Lord, but because of one incident, he angered the Demon Lord, and he was wounded and exiled to a very remote place in the universe. But at this time, the Demon Lord had disappeared for a long time, so Yu always felt that the Demon Lord would never come back. In the recent period of time, the 6 great devils have entered the secret realm one after another, and they have not come out for a long time, which makes Yu feel that his time has come. But he has always been accumulating his own strength. At this time, Cruising will also gather a lot of his own forces, and his strength has also recovered a lot, even a little more refined than he was back then. Now I have led the army to capture around the palace of the 6 great devils, and even if they come back at this time, they have already resigned. From today onwards, I may become the new Demon Lord in the universe. Yu looked at the palace in front of him and thought so in his heart, and his blood began to boil. Immediately afterwards, those masters who stayed outside the wandering demon supreme palace found the cruising and attacked here. Who is bold? How dare you trespass the palace of the supreme being? At this time, the guards who stayed here came out and said this, but although they said this, after seeing the momentum of the cruiser and the army behind the cruiser, their expressions began to change greatly. From today onwards, I am the master of this place, and all those who want to stop me will die. Yu Yu opened his mouth, his words were very gloomy. After hearing Yu Yu's words, the expressions of the guards who stayed here also changed greatly, and they hesitated in their hearts, because Yu Yu's strength was indeed incomparably high, and Yu Yu was carrying a lot of troops behind him, let them felt very frightened. At this time, they could be said to be in a dilemma, and after a period of time, some people finally couldn't bear the power of cruising, and immediately began to run away. Led him, and the army began to attack the guards around the palace. Because he came prepared, the guards of the palace for Hao Jiao Jiao, Zhou were already killed by Yu Yu in an instant. And escape. When Yu Yu saw such a scene, he was even more happy in his heart. At this time, he seemed to have seen himself become the new master of the universe. Then at this moment, a sense of crisis suddenly appeared in Yu Yu's heart, and then he turned his head and found that there seemed to be a little bit of light in the demon lord's palace. It was also accompanied by a little fluctuation in space. After feeling these fluctuations, Yu Yu's heart was also slightly surprised. Not good. Could it be that the 6 great demons are back? If the 6 great demons are back, maybe I still have a little trouble trying to conquer this place. Yu Yu thought in his heart that at this time, he was also ready, and then Yu Yu took his army and stared at the palace dominated by demons. 265. The Judgment of the Demon Lord, 5/6. Even if the 6 great demon supremes have all returned, but at this time he has occupied the home court, it can be said that it is the general trend, even if the 6 great demon supremes return, they are not cruising opponents. Okay, since they come back, it's the best. I will defeat all of them in front of everyone's eyes. In this case, I will become the new master of the devil in the universe, and no one will dare to resist me. Yu Yi's heart is full of confidence when he thinks like this, and at this time, Yi Chu and the demon lord also walked out of the secret realm. When Yi Chu came out of the other world, the demon lord's face he also frowned slightly. Hey, there seems to be some movement outside, someone is attacking my palace and forces. The demon lord instantly sensed the situation outside, his face was also frowned, and he said, "It's cruising." At this time, Chihu also thought of something, and said, but although he was very surprised, Yu Yu was attacking their forces at this time, but he didn't have much fear in his heart, because Yu Yu did this because of I don't know that the demon lord is back now. Haha, cruising, it's really self-defeating. Even at this time, 500 dare to start an uprising. If this is the case, if the lord returns, he can be slapped to death with a slap. Feng Yi opened his mouth, and in his heart he was also very flattering to the demon lord. After hearing what they said, the demon lord also frowned slightly. In fact, long ago, the reason why the demon lord was exiled was because the ambition in Yu Yu's heart is too big, and Yu Yu does not respect the master of the devil at all. But because the demon lord also had some karma with Yu Yu, the demon lord didn't kill Yu at that time. I thought that after such a long time, Yu Yu might be able to live his life peacefully. After disappearing for a period of time, Yu Yu turned out to be in an uprising, trying to capture his own forces. Hey, it looks like I can't be merciful to him this time. The demon lord thought so in his heart, and there was some anger in his heart because of the wandering, and then the demon lord and Yi Chu walked out. Then at this time, Yu Yi also prepared himself and watched the demon, BECF, dominate the palace closely. However, at this time, when Yu Yu sensed the aura coming from the BECF dominating the palace, his complexion also began to change. Changed. This kind of breath, is it? How is it possible? He had already sensed it in his heart at this time. The person who came over seemed to be the ruler of the devil, and he was still unbelievable in his heart. In fact, he just didn't want to believe it. Immediately after Yi Chu, the Demon Lord and the others walked out of the Demon Lord's palace. When they came out of the Demon Lord's palace, Yu Yi saw Yi Chu, the Demon Lord and the others at a glance. At this time, the complexion of the cruiser also began to become exciting, and the army behind the cruiser did not see such a scene, because their strength was not so strong, and the range they saw was not as wide as the cruiser, but they saw it. The expression on the cruiser's face. What's wrong with Master Yu? We are about to capture the palace dominated by demons. Because why is your face so ugly? At this time, a general behind the cruiser said that his strength is not weak, and he has a strength that is very close to the 6 great devils. My lord, could it be that the 6 great devils have all returned now? Even if they all return, it will be nothing. We have now occupied the home court and the general trend. If they come back now, it will be too late. We will definitely be able to defeat them. Quote. The master behind Yu Yu said this, but after hearing their words, Yu Yu did not reply. At this time, the Lord of Demons also walked out slowly. When the Lord of Demons came out, he also carried an incomparably huge momentum. His momentum was like a gust of wind, sweeping through the hearts of everyone present. There are thousands of troops behind you, but when the Demon Lord came over, their hearts became extremely frightened. In an instant, everyone couldn't help kneeling on the ground. In addition to Yu Yu, he was still standing on the same spot, but although Yu Yu was standing there, his legs were constantly shaking. Yes, it is the master of the devil. At this time, the general behind the cruiser also knelt on the ground, his lips trembled, his eyes were very frightened, and he muttered. You are really bold in cruising. Before I exiled you, it seemed that I was relatively soft-handed. I didn't expect that during the period of time I was away, you would dare to revolt and want to overthrow my rule. At this time, the Lord of Demons also walked over slowly. He was also standing next to Yi Chu in the air. The Lord of Demons looked at the people below and said, the voice of the Demon Lord is like rolling thunder, and it continues to spread in the sky. After it spreads into the hearts of these people, they are even more frightened in their hearts. Yu Yu finally couldn't bear the momentum dominated by the devil, because at this time, the momentum of the devil dominated all poured towards Yu Yu. Plop. Yu Yu finally knelt on the ground. He knelt on the ground, his face looked very frightened. Yu Yu raised his head in fear, but there was some stubbornness and unwillingness. Master, how can you come back? Didn't you disappear? You should die, how can you come back? At this time, although Yu Yu was very frightened in his heart, he also had a strong unwillingness in his heart, and these strong uneasiness urged Yu Yu to say this. Wandering, accept your fate, you can never be the master of the devil in the universe, and the master of the devil will always be me. Looking at the cruise, the Demon Lord was expressionless, and the Demon Lord said this. After hearing the words of the Demon Lord, the unwillingness in Yu Yi's heart became even stronger, and then the Demon Lord slowly walked towards Yu Yu, while the army behind Yu Yu was shivering. I don't know. What will the Lord of the Demons do about cruising? I'm afraid Yu Yu will die this time. Even if he doesn't die, he will never have any freedom and opportunities in the future. At this time, Chi-Chu said, because Chi-Chu also knows the Demon Lord very well, and the Demon Lord may have mercy once, but he will never show mercy for the second time. 266. Return to calm, 6/6. When the Demon Lord came over, Yu Yu's body began to tremble constantly. When the Demon Lord walked to Yu Yu's side, he seemed to be stepping on Yu Yu's heart, and then Yu Yu gathered up his courage. Slowly raising his head, he saw an incomparably huge palm grabbing towards him. PFF'd. The hand of the Demon Lord is wrapped in powerful energy, and it is inserted into the cruising body at once. The huge energy continues to rush along the limbs and bones of the cruising body. I'll give you a treat this time, and next time you won't have a chance. The Demon Lord killed Yu Yi with one move, and said this, then Yu Yu turned his head and fell to the ground motionless, completely dead. The Lord of the Demons, we have been wrong. I beg the Lord of the Demons to spare our lives. Before, we were also bewitched by cruising. At this time, the soldiers who were cruising before began to beg for mercy from the Demon Lord, and the Demon Lord didn't seem to hear their words, and then the Demon Lord turned around and said to the 6 great Demon Lords, "Capture them all, and then kill them all, with respect and efficiency." The Demon Lord can say this. The words of the Demon Lord also spread to the hearts of everyone around, and the army brought by the cruising also instantly became a little cold in their hearts. They trembled and wanted to beg for mercy, and some even wanted to resist, but the 6 great demon supremes were not vegetarians, not to mention the Demon Lord was still standing here at this time. Although 2 of the 6 great demon supremes had died at this time, leaving only the 4 great demon supremes, their power was still not something that the army brought by the cruising could stop them. Not long after, the cruising army was completely killed by the 4 great demon supremes. The blood was scattered in the air, and even the air seemed to be filled with some blood red. Yi Chu also sighed when he saw such a scene. Although the Demon Lord seems to be very kind to Yi Chu, in fact, the Demon Lord is a very cold-blooded person, and what he hates most is those who want to rebel against power, so at this time, the Demon Lord has no idea about these people. Leaving the slightest mercy, Yi Chu did not block such a sight, because this is the real world. A world where the weak eat the strong, and it is a very cruel world. Since the cruising has brought these people, and these people are cruising with them, if they succeed, maybe they can get riches and glory, but if they fail, what awaits them may be the cold bones. It's like a gamble, they can get a lot of money if they succeed, but they also get a lot of losses if they fail, and they obviously lost the gamble this time, so they get this result. After seeing the blood in the air, the Demon Lord also stretched out his hand, and then the Demon Lord gently stroked the space in front. A very gentle wave emanated from the hand of the Demon Lord. The fluctuations filled the air, swaying the vast space in front of him, and in an instant, the bloody smell in these surrounding spaces had been eliminated. "I'm sorry, Yi Chu, I made you see a joke." At this time, the Demon Lord also turned around and said to Yi Chu. The Demon Lord also had some smiles on his face, and the Demon Lord looked like he was killing those people before. It was because of Yi Chu's great strength that they looked like 2 different people, so the Demon Lord looked at Yi Chu with great respect and gratitude. No, it's not a joke. Something like this happened in our Dragon Ball #1. I also eliminated some people who wanted to resist me. Yi Chu spoke, because when they were in this position, even if they didn't want to be cruel, they would inevitably do some cruel things, because if they weren't cruel to others, they might be cruel to themselves. In this world, everyone is ambitious, and many people will peep at their position, but how do those people know that when they stand in this position, they will experience that this position is actually not so it's easy, because Yi Chu can also be said to be the ruler of the Dragon Ball universe, so he also understands such things. "Yi Chu, come and sit in my palace now." Quote. "Let's welcome Yi Chu." At this time, the Demon Lord said loudly. Hearing the words of the Demon Lord and the 4 great demon supremes also nodded, then they went down and started to prepare, and the Demon Lord also took a step and Yi Chu walked towards the palace. "Go in." Immediately after, not much time passed, the news that the Demon Lord and the 4 great demons respected the new return to the demon universe also spread, which surprised and excited the creatures in the universe. After the Demon Lord returns, it will involve the interests of some people, but it is good for most people, because the Demon Lord is extremely powerful, so he can also suppress some small existences in the universe. In this case, the devil, there won't be too much turmoil in the human universe. 0. Yi Chu took Yamozi to the palace of the Demon Lord, and at this time the Demon Lord also noticed the relationship between Yi Chu and Yamozi. At this time, the Lord of Demons also discovered the difference in Yamozi. Because the Lord of Demons was extremely powerful, he could also find that Yi Chu had applied the transformation technique to Yamozi. "Yi Chu, is the person beside you from the Dragon Ball universe?" At this time, the Lord of Demons asked tentatively. After hearing the words of the Lord of Demons, the 4 surrounding demon supremes were even more surprised. What they didn't expect was not only Yi Chu alone, but also the Dragon Ball universe. Inside, The friend Yichu brought is also in the Dragon Ball universe. You are right about the Lord of the Demons. This one is Yamozi, and he is also from the Dragon Ball universe. He is my good friend. Yichu opened his mouth, and after hearing what Yichu said, the Demon Lord's eyes flashed. Yichu, since Yamozi is your good friend, then this time we will treat him solemnly. The Demon Lord opened his mouth. After hearing what the Demon Lord said, Yamozi became a little overjoyed. Then Yichu and the Demon Lord had already entered the Demon Lord's palace, and the Demon Lord had already entered the palace. This time, I wanted to ask Yichu something, and Yichu himself also wanted to ask the devil to do many things. At 267. Eliminate dissidents, 1/6. When he came to this universe before, Yichu had guessed in his heart that this universe might have more huge information about the universe, so at this time Yichu also planned to ask the Demon Lord Master carefully. And when he saw that evil monster before, Yichu actually had a lot of questions in his heart, so at this time, I hoped that he planned to ask the Demon Lord. Immediately afterwards, the Demon Lord and Yichu walked in, and after the Demon Lord and Yichu walked in, the Demon Lord also took Yichu to a separate room. Devil Lord, I wonder if I can ask you some questions. Yichu opened his mouth, and after hearing Yichu say this, the Demon Lord also became a little surprised in his heart. Okay, Yichu, if you have any questions, 100, feel free to ask, as long as I know what I know, I will tell you, because this time you are also the savior in our universe. If there is no you, if so, maybe we'll all encounter some danger, so what's the point of telling you something? The Demon Lord opened his mouth. In fact, he also had some doubts and curiosity in his heart. What exactly did Yichu want to ask? Because at Yichu's level, they didn't pay much attention to things anymore. Demon Lord, I want to ask, do you know the information of the more powerful world? Yichu opened his mouth. After hearing what Yichu said, the Demon Lord also became silent and frowned. After thinking for a while, the Demon Lord raised his head and said to Yichu, Yichojun didn't expect you to ask this question. Since you asked this question, let me answer it. In fact, from what I have learned, there must be a larger world. The Demon Lord said this. Hearing the Demon Lord say this, Yichu felt some joy in his heart. Then Yichu stepped forward and stood in front of the Demon Lord. Devil Lord, since you know about your other bigger worlds, can you tell me specifically? Yichu opened his mouth, and upon hearing Yichu say this, the Demon Lord also shook his head. I also speculated about Yichu's things from some ancient books. I can't be 100% sure whether it is the case or not. The Demon Lord opened his mouth. After hearing the Demon Lord say this, Yichu felt a little disappointed in his heart. But Yichu, don't worry, since you need this kind of information, I'll definitely check it out after I go down, and I'll give you good news after a while. The Demon Lord opened his mouth, and after hearing the Demon Lord say this, he was also somewhat grateful to the Demon Lord in his heart. If that's the case, then I'll thank you. Yichu said sincerely. After hearing what Yichu said, the Demon Lord hurriedly stepped forward and said, what is there to thank for this? This time you have helped so much in our universe, and these things count as well. What? Yichu, is there anything else you want to ask? If you have anything else you want to ask, just ask me, and I will tell you all. The Demon Lord opened his mouth. After hearing the Demon Lord's question, Yichu became silent. Then Yichu thought for a while, but Yichu didn't think of anything. I haven't figured out the master of the devil for the time being. What else do I need to ask? I'll stay in your palace for a while. If I think of any questions, I'll come over and continue to ask. Yichu opened his mouth, and after hearing what Yichu said, the Demon Lord also nodded. Okay, if that's the case, Yichu, you and Yamozi should go down and have a good rest. You are also living in my palace for a while. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. The Demon Lord opened his mouth. Yichu nodded when he heard the Demon Lord say this, and then Yichu walked out of the Demon Lord's room, and the Demon Lord also walked down, preparing to give Yi Chu a big gift to thank Yi Chu for this time. Not long after Yi Chu had walked down, the 4 great demon supremes also came to the room dominated by the demons. Devil Lord, you seem to respect Yi Chu so much, do you really plan to form an alliance with Yi Chu? At this time, a demon sovereign stepped forward to speak, and said this: the reason why this demon sovereign is like this is because in the past, he was the most supportive of the demon sovereign who attacked the Dragon Ball universe. After hearing this demon supreme say this, the demon lord frowned. Why, do you have other ideas? The demon lord opened his mouth, and after hearing the demon lord ask this, the demon supreme also continued to take a step forward. Master, according to me, Yi Chu is from the Dragon Ball universe, and his strength is so powerful, but after my previous observation, I found that Yi Chu's strength needs to be transformed before he is extremely powerful. In other cases his strength is actually not that strong, which means that if we sneak attack, we can kill him in an instant. This demon sovereign stepped forward and said to the demon lord. After hearing the words of this demon sovereign, the demon lord looked expressionless. And the other 3 demon sovereigns are also looking at the demon lord, and they don't know what the demon lord will do. And the reason why this demon supreme said this is because he has been leading and supporting the attack on the Dragon Ball universe before. When he saw Yi Chu's strength at this time, this demon supreme also became more and more in his heart. Some panicked, afraid that Yi Chu would hold him accountable after a period of time passed. At this time, the demon lord suddenly and slowly walked towards this demon supreme, and this demon supreme was also very uneasy in his heart. When I saw the demon lord coming over, the demon lord had some smiles on his face, and his face looked very kind. You said it very well. So you'd better die. Suddenly, the demon lord said this fiercely, and then the demon lord suddenly raised his hands quickly, and then the powerful energy condensed in his hands was inserted into the demon supreme's chest at once. The face of this demon supreme was very unbelievable. Scarlet blood was spitting out of his mouth, and he raised his head hard to look at the demon lord. 268. Adults do not count villains. 2/6. Devil Lord, why? The demon sovereign was very unwilling to ask the demon lord. After the demon lord heard his question, some disdain and disgust appeared on his face. And the other 3 devils standing around were very frightened in their hearts. Do you think I'm joking? Don't you understand what I said before? Yi Chu's strength is so strong, we and he will only be forever allies. Kill it, and then apologize to Yi Chu. The demon lord opened his mouth and said coldly. After hearing the demon lord say this, the remaining 3 demon supremes around also nodded, and they were also very frightened in their hearts, lest the demon lord also be unhappy, and then kill them too, because the previous time although they did not take the initiative to attack the Dragon Ball universe, they actually had some hatred for the Dragon Ball universe. However, at this time, Yi Chu's strength made them very jealous in their hearts. At this time, Baihua also took a step forward. Master, if that's the case, then I'll go with you. Yi Chu and I had some misunderstandings before. In this case, I also want to go up and apologize to Yi Chu. Baihua opened his mouth, and after hearing Baihua's words, the demon lord also nodded, and when he saw the appearance of the 2 people, the remaining 2 demon supreme also stepped forward. I think Yi Chu is very helpful to us this time, but without him, we wouldn't even be able to survive, so I also prepared some gifts for Yi Chu. At this time, Kaihu and Feng Yi said, and after hearing Kaihu and Feng Yi's words, the demon lord also nodded with a little smile on his face. Yi Chu didn't know about this at this time, and Yi Chu was resting in his room. The day passed quickly. When the next day came, the sky was shining, and the whole world began to look like very sunny. If you don't go to inquire about the news, you will think that the demon universe is still very peaceful, but many people don't know that a lot of things happened last night. If Yi Chu and the demon lord did not come back, maybe the entire universe now has changed hands. Yi Chu was sitting in his room when suddenly he heard footsteps coming from outside. Yi Chu's heart moved slightly. At this time, Yi Chu also felt the aura of being dominated by demons outside. It's the demon lord who came over. It seems that there is Baihua by his side. I don't know what's going on here. Yi Chu thought of this moment in his heart, and the demon lord also knocked on Yi Chu's door softly. Yi Chu, are you inside? Can I come in? The demon lord opened his mouth. After hearing the demon lord's words, Yi Chu also nodded, and then Yi Chu said to the outside, "The demon lord, please come in." After the demon lord heard what Yi Chu said, he also pushed open the door. Yi Chu also saw Baihua and Kai Touch who were following the demon lord. He was also a little puzzled. He didn't know that they came here this time. What happened after that? Yi Chu was a little surprised after seeing the expressions of Baihua and Ji Touch, because Baihua was looking at Yi Chu with his head down. There was some fear in his eyes, and there was a look of flattery in his eyes. Haha, Yi Chu, actually we came here this time to tell you something. The demon lord opened his mouth. After hearing what the demon lord said, Yi Chu also asked them to sit down. Then Yi Chu looked at the demon lord, wondering what the demon lord had to say. Yi Chu, in the past, there were a lot of misunderstandings between our universe and yours. This time I also want to resolve this misunderstanding. The demon lord opened his mouth. After hearing what the demon lord said, Yi Chu's heart moved slightly, and then he let the demon lord continue to speak. Actually, in the past, not everyone wanted to attack your universe, but there was a demon supreme who wanted to attack your universe because he had very powerful ambitions, and this time I also discovered his things, and I have dealt with him, beheaded him. Yi Chu, in the future, no one will have any idea about your universe. We will be friends forever. The demon lord opened his mouth, and after hearing the demon lord say this, Yi Chu's heart moved slightly. No wonder the demon lord came here with Baihua and Chituch this time, and he actually wanted to apologize to himself. Haha, demon lord, you don't have to do this. Even if the demon supreme wants to deal with the Dragon Ball universe at this time, it depends on his ability. Yi Chu opened his mouth. At this time, his strength was already very strong, so he didn't care about these things, but if the demon lord did these things for him, Yi Chu was actually a little happy in his heart. Get him out of a little trouble. Chituch and Baihua, what are you two doing here this time? At this time, Yi Chu also looked at Chituch and Baihua, and asked the two of them. When Baihua saw Yi Chu asking this way, he also began to explain the reason for coming here this time. Yi Chu 637, the reason why we came here this time is to apologize to you. I didn't know your true identity before, so I might have had some bad contact with you. Regardless of the villain, don't mind what happened to me before. At this time, Baihua also looked very apologetic, and then Baihua stepped forward, lowered his head, looked very humble and said to Yi Chu. When Yi Chu saw Baihua like this, the same expression on his face, there were some faint smiles. In the past, Baihua looked very arrogant, and then this time, Baihua seemed to have lowered his identity, and when Yi Chu saw Baihua at this time, the shocks from before and after also made Yi Chu feeling some joy. It's okay, I can forgive you, please don't care about the past, we can live in peace in the future. Yi Chu opened his mouth. After hearing what Yi Chu said, Baihua also felt a sense of joy in his heart. Then he stepped forward and handed Yi Chu a box. This box contained the treasures that Baihua brought. This treasure is also very precious to Baihua, but this time, in order to please Yi Chu, Baihua also took out these treasures. 269. Ingratiating gifts 3/6. Baihua handed the baby to Yi Chu, but there was a little pain in his heart, and Yi Chu also saw Baihua's expression. I also ask Lord Yi Chu to accept my things, otherwise I'm afraid I'll be a little scared now. Baihua opened his mouth. After hearing what Baihua said, Yi Chu didn't want to accept it, so he took it. When he saw Yi Chu take it, although Baihua felt a lot of pain in his heart, he felt a little relaxed in his heart. Up. Okay, since you said so, then I'll take this thing and thank you this time. Yi Chu opened his mouth and took Baihua's treasure. Then he found that the box contained a fruit. The fruit looked only the size of a walnut, with a crystal clear skin and a lot of water. Before the box was opened, there was a very strong fragrance from the fruit in the box. When this fragrance was passed on to Yi Chu's mind, Yi Chu felt that his mind was much more awake. This is indeed a very mysterious fruit. Maybe it will have some effect on Yi Chu in the future, so Yi Chu took this fruit and thanked Baihua. After hearing Yi Chu say this, Baihua also hurriedly withdrew, and there was some joy in his heart. At this time, holding the touch was also a step forward. Lord Yi Chu, I didn't know your identity before, and it was a little awkward for you to come. Please don't mind, please accept my baby. At this time, Zihu also stepped forward and opened his mouth to Yi Chu. After saying this, he took out a box and handed it to Yi Chu. The box contained other things, some tea leaves. The most precious tea in the demon universe. Before, Yi Chu had tasted some tea leaves in the Magic City. The tea leaves in the Magic City couldn't be compared with the ones handed over by Chituch. Chituch is more precious than the tea I came here, and the taste is also the same. More beautiful. Yi Chu didn't hesitate when he saw the gift that Chi-Chi handed over, and then he took it from the treasure that Chi-Chi handed over, because if he didn't accept the treasure that Chi-Chi gave, maybe Chi-Chi would also. There was some worry, because Yi Chu had already accepted Baihua's gift before. Okay, if that's the case, hold the touch, and I'll thank you tilde diaresis. Yi Chu opened his mouth and took the treasure, and then he found that the box contained a piece of tea. This tea was more precious than the tea he drank in the Magic City before. He drank it in the Magic City before. Tea leaves can permanently increase his strength, and if he drinks this tea, it will not only increase some of his body's strength, but even have some bonuses for his comprehension of the exercises. The quantity of this tea is also very large. Maybe when I get it in our universe, I can give Chi-Chi and Wukong a taste. Yi Chu also thought of this in his heart, and he also had some expectations in his heart, because he had already solved the problems in this universe during this period of time, and he also explored the same in this universe, so he also planned to return to himself in a while. In the Dragon Ball universe, you can give Wukong and the others a taste of these tea leaves at that time. After seeing Yi Chu receiving their gifts, Baihua and Chihu felt very relieved in their hearts, and they were also very satisfied when they saw Yi Chu. Although their hearts were aching, they also felt a little joy in their hearts. Although they gave Yi Chu a lot of gifts this time, Yi Chu's strength was incomparably powerful. Maybe they could photograph some of Yi Chu's relationships in the future, which would be of great benefit to them. Well, this time I'm very grateful for your gifts. If there is nothing else, you can go down first. Yi Chu opened his mouth, chasing after Baiwa and Kai Touch, and also retreated to the back. Yi Chu, after I go down, I will definitely investigate the clues you want for you. The Demon Lord opened his mouth and said, and Yi Chu nodded after hearing what the Demon Lord said. Okay, if that's the case, Lord of the Demons, I'll live in your palace first. If you find any clues during this time, let me know as soon as possible. Yi Chu spoke, and the Demon Lord nodded solemnly. The reason why the Demon Lord did this was because he was quite curious about these things in his heart, but no one mentioned it before, so he didn't notice it either. And since Yi Chu mentioned it at this time, he also planned to explore it carefully. In fact, he also had a feeling in his heart before. It seemed that there was indeed a slightly bigger world. If he searched carefully this time, he might be able to find more clues, and he could also befriend Yi Chu and Hila. Not for what? Immediately after the Demon Lord walked down, Yi Chu also began to sit and rest after seeing the Demon Lord go down. I don't know what kind of clues the devil will get after he takes over. Yi Chu thought and had some expectations in his heart, and then Yi Chu and Yamozi lived in the palace dominated by demons. And the fact that the Demon Lord killed a demon supreme because of Yi Chu also spread in the demon universe. This incident surprised everyone in the demon universe. Although there were rumors that Yi Chu's strength was no worse than Demon Lord, or even stronger than Demon Lord, the people in demon universe were not many believe in it, but those more powerful people still know in their hearts that this is indeed, money is good, that is such a promotion. Yi Chu, do you think the Demon Lord can really inquire about those news? Yamozi looked at Yi Chu in Yi Chu's room and asked. He has also become more relaxed these days, all because of Yi Chu's benefits. As the master of the devil universe, if he can't find anything, it will definitely be more difficult for us to find it, but I believe he can find some clues, so let's just wait quietly. Quote. Yi Chu opened his mouth, and after hearing what Yi Chu said, Yamozi also became a little expectant in his heart. A few days later, when Yi Chu was standing in front of his door in the morning, he suddenly saw the demon lord coming from a distance, with some joy on his face. Yi Chu, I have found some information you want. The demon lord opened his mouth. 270. The background of the devil universe, 4/6. Hearing the demon lord say this, Yi Chu's heart also became pleasantly surprised, and then Yi Chu quickly came to the demon lord's side. Devil lord, have you found out the news? If so, tell me quickly. Yi Chu said eagerly to the demon lord, and the demon lord also laughed when he heard Yi Chu say this. Yi Chu, these things were found in some ancient books. After you and I arrived at that place, I'll take out those books and give them to you, and then you can see for yourself. The demon lord opened his mouth, and after hearing the demon lord's words, Yi Chu felt a little surprised in his heart. Okay, if that's the case, then Master of Demons, hurry up and take me to the place where the book is. Yi Chu opened his mouth, and after hearing Yi Chu say this, the demon lord also nodded, and then Yi Chu walked towards the distance with the demon lord. After a period of time, the demon lord took Yi Chu to a very remote place within his territory. Although this place was remote and there were not many guards, each one was extremely powerful. Chu even sensed that there was a master in the realm of supreme power of the devil. The master of the demon supreme strength realm, originally 617, should be on an equal footing with the 6 great demon supremes, but at this time, Yi Chu, the guard in this place, sensed this situation, and was extremely surprised in his heart, that is, to say that this place must be extremely important. Yi Chu, there is a library in this place. This library contains some books from ancient times to the present in our universe. Although these books don't seem to be helpful to our combat power, I am the one we have for countless years. The precipitation of wisdom in the universe also records a lot of things, and even these books, I just read less than 1/10,000th. The demon lord opened his mouth, and after hearing the demon lord say this, Yi Chu also understood in his heart. It turned out that the demon lord had searched this library this time, and it must be the clues he found, so he came to find myself. Devil lord, I know, those clues you mentioned were found in the library, right? Yi Chu opened his mouth, and after hearing Yi Chu's words, the demon lord nodded, and Yi Chu's heart grew even more yearning for this library, and then Yi Chu went to the door of the library together with the demon lord. The library looks very ordinary, but if you feel it carefully, you will feel a very grand and ancient atmosphere. This is because this library has a long history from ancient times to the present, so it carries such a breadth. Okay Yi Chu, you can follow me inside now. The demon lord opened his mouth, and then the demon lord took Yi Chu into it. If someone else came here, without the demon lord's leadership, it would be impossible to enter the deepest part of it. The clues found by the demon lord are also the most precious among the books in the library. Those books are kept in the deepest place. If ordinary people enter here, it is impossible to even find those books. When Yi Chu followed the demon lord in, he also sensed that there was a master hidden in this library. The aura of this expert was not even weaker than that of the demon lord. After feeling this aura, Yi Chu felt in his heart, also slightly stunned. It seems that it is really impossible to underestimate any universe. I did not expect that the background of the devil universe is deeper than I imagined. Yi Chu thought to himself. Immediately afterwards, Yi Chu followed the demon lord and entered the library. After entering the library, Yi Chu also saw a dazzling array of books, which were placed everywhere in the library. The scope of this library is very large after entering, but this huge space is filled with BHBG, all kinds of books. It is like an ocean, submerging Yi Chu in there. Yi Chu looked at the dazzling array of books around him. There were many kinds of books, including various categories. Yichu even felt a little dizzy when he saw these books. Let's go, Yichu. The clues you want are found in some of the most precious books in the deepest part. Now I'll take you there. The Demon Lord opened his mouth, and then Yichu followed next to the Demon Lord. After the two passed through countless books, they finally reached a small house. Although this room looked very small, it was also in the library. In the deepest part, there were a lot of restrictions around them. Each of these restrictions was so powerful that Yichu even felt a little bit of danger. Yichu, you must know that this ban was not created by me alone. It is after countless years that the powerful masters in our universe have united and strengthened this ban from generation to generation, so the power of this ban has also become stronger. It's even bigger, and even I don't dare to trespass here. The Demon Lord opened his mouth. In countless years of history, there are many masters who are more powerful than him. What the Demon Lord is a little puzzled about is that those masters also disappeared in the end. I don't know where they went, and it is also the reason why the Demon Lord believes that there is a greater than local existence. There have been many powerful masters in our universe for countless years, and many of those masters are more powerful than me, but they also disappeared here, which is why I was so sure that there were more powerful universes. The Demon Lord opened his mouth, Yichu nodded, and then the Demon Lord used his identity to open the restriction, and the restrictions in this small library could only be opened by the Demon Lord of each generation. After Yichu and the Demon Lord entered inside, Yichu saw the books in this small library. There were not many books in this small library, and each book had an incomparably ancient aura. These ancient auras, as if to confirm the development of the years, each book seems to be a living fossil. Yichu walked to the side, picked up a book and saw the name on the book, The History of the Origin of the Devil's Universe. The right hand picked up another book, The Suppressed Evil Weird Legend. When Yichu saw this book, Yichu was incomparably surprised. He didn't expect these books to remember these things, and even record some things about evil and weird people. 271. Book Legends 5/6. Yichu, the information you want is found in these books. At this time, the Demon Lord picked up a few books and said to Yichu. After Yichu heard the Demon Lord say this, he also walked towards the Demon Lord. Yichu saw several books in the hands of the Demon Lord. These books were also about ancient times, and these books were also the most precious books in this small library. Even Yichu, I feel that these books can already be said to be a treasure. Yichu picked up the book and began to read it carefully. When Yichu read the book carefully, he felt more and more surprised in his heart. This book talks about the history in the demon universe, and also records the events of ancient times, and even the things of evil and weird people are involved. To the uninitiated, the things described in it may seem like legends, but Yichu knew that although the stories here looked like legends, in the long past, they might have been, had happened. In ancient times, there were innate gods, and their every move had a strange and unpredictable power. They didn't need any spells, they didn't need to cast any vitality bombs, because their every move was like a supernatural power. This book has such information written on it. When he saw this information, Yichu's heart was also extremely shocked. He seemed to see an incomparably glorious era unfolding in front of him, and Yichu's heart was also filled with shock. Inevitably, there is a little yearning for this era. Such a world really makes people yearn for it. Yichu opened his mouth and said, and then Yichu continued to read the book, and the Demon Lord was also standing beside him. Before the Demon Lord, I also read this book. When the Demon Lord saw the things recorded in this book for the first time, he felt unbelievable in his heart. There are some turbulence in my heart. Yichu continued to flip through the book and saw other things recorded. Among the ancient powerhouses, there is the Sun God. The Sun God has the highest and brightest power. The Sun God is very righteous in body and mind, and besides the Sun God, there is also the Sea God, the Wind God, etc. Almost every symbolic thing in the world is there are corresponding gods, and those gods are inherently powerful. There is such a thing written in the book, and then it is mentioned in the book that one day, there was an extremely violent battle in the ancient times. This battle caused the entire ancient world to be devastated. I don't know how many powerful gods. Because of this incident, it fell, and even the entire incomparably vast continent was divided into two halves. Yi Chu continued to read into the book, and when he saw the end, he slowly closed the book. Although he closed the book, the waves in his heart were constantly surging. It's really shocking and shocking. The things told in this book are not just a history, but a wonderful picture scroll that is incomparably magnificent. When I read it, I was even addicted to it and wanted to visit that era in person. Quote. Yi Chu opened his mouth. Although he said this, he also had a self-knowledge in his heart. Although his strength seems to be incomparably high now, in that era, his strength may seem incomparably low. Yi Chu, you have finished reading this book, are you surprised in your heart? The Demon Lord looked at Yi Chu and asked. Hearing the Demon Lord say this, Yi Chu also nodded. After seeing Yi Chu nod, the Demon Lord also walked to the side and continued to pick up a book. Yi Chu, what was recorded in that book just now was only part of it. This book also recorded other similar things. The Demon Lord opened his mouth. Hearing the Demon Lord say this, Yi Chu became even more curious in his heart. Then he walked up to the Demon Lord and picked up this book, which tells the story in the book. Things are somewhat similar to what was described in the book just now, but somewhat different. What this book tells is that there are countless universes in this world. These universes are connected with each other, but they are separated from each other, like independent individuals. Question mark, question mark, question mark. The Demon Universe is also one of the universes, and the Dragon Ball Universe is also one of the universes. In addition to these two universes, there are countless similar universes of all kinds. Yi Chu was also extremely surprised when he saw what was recorded in this book, but at this time Yi Chu also believed in this thing, although this thing seemed a little unbelievable, because Yi Chu was also in the Dragon Ball universe. The ruler inside, so he also understands in his heart that this matter is very likely to be true. Yi Chu, when I saw what was recorded in this book, I was actually quite surprised, because in the past, I thought I had reached the strongest, although I know that there is your universe, but apart from your universe. Besides, I don't know that there are other universes, but after reading this book, I also learned a lot of things. 0. It can be seen that although our strength is incomparably high, we also need knowledge to fill our hearts. At this time, the Demon Lord opened his mouth. After the Demon Lord had read these books, he put his posture very low, and he didn't look like he was the only one who was before. Yi Chu nodded, and after seeing these books, Yi Chu was different from the vigilant thoughts in the Demon Lord's heart. Yi Chu's heart was also very longing for these universes, and also very longing for the larger world. That's the kind of heart that dares to fight and win. Devil Lord, are there other books like this? Yi Chu also finished reading the book at this time, and then Yi Chu asked the Demon Lord, and the Demon Lord nodded when he heard Yi Chu's question. Yi Chu, there are indeed some similar books, but the things recorded in these books are not as complete as those recorded in these two collections. The Demon Lord opened his mouth. Yi Chu also nodded at this time, and then Yi Chu read the other books. After reading these books, he also learned about other things in these books. The other things in these books were just before there are also some references in the two books. Sun. 272. Plan 6/6. After some time passed, Yi Chu finally finished reading the things recorded in these books. After Yi Chu finished reading these things, he raised his head again, and there was light in his eyes. Yi Chu couldn't wait to think about it. To enter into other universes. At this time, it is difficult to find the larger world, but presumably at this time we can go to other universes to take a look. Other universes seem to have nothing to do with us, as if they are independent, but the other universes seem to be independent. There are some connections between them, which are also explained in these books, so we can look for them carefully. Maybe we can find the connections in these universes, and then find them in other universes to have a look. Quote. Yi Chu opened his mouth. After he came to the demon universe this time, he also gained a lot of 097 Benefits. In addition to these benefits, Yichu also broadened his horizons. All of them are of great help, so he also wants to go to other universes to have a look. After hearing Yichu say this, the Demon Lord was also a little moved in his heart. He always thought that the Demon Lord had become the strongest person in his universe, but the Demon Lord also felt a little lonely in his heart. If he can go to other universes, he may also be able to see more novel things, which may also be a great pleasure for him. Okay, Yichu, if you want to go to another universe, maybe I can go with you. The Demon Lord opened his mouth. Yichu nodded after hearing what the Demon Lord said. Then, Yichu closed the book and put it down, because at this time Yichu had also finished reading all the books he wanted. At this time, he also learned the information he wanted to know, so it was time to leave the library. Thank you, Lord of the Demons. If you hadn't brought me here this time, it might be impossible for me to understand these things, and these things are of great help to me, and I will definitely do so in the future. Compensate you. Yichu opened his mouth, and upon hearing Xie Yan say this, the Demon Lord also smiled. Haha, Yichu, I told you a long time ago, don't be too open-minded, these things should be, they should be. The Demon Lord opened his mouth, and after hearing what the Demon Lord said, Yichu also had some good feelings for the Demon Lord in his heart. Although the Demon Lord seemed very cold towards his enemies, the Demon Lord was at this time. He seems to be very kind to him anyway, so Yichu also has some good feelings for the demons in his heart. In fact, from the eyes of Demon Lord's subordinates, Demon Lord seems to be very indifferent, but from Yichu's point of view, if he can walk to Demon Lord's side, Demon Lord will actually look like an ordinary person. Well, if that's the case, let's get out of here this time. Also ask the Demon Lord to take me out again. Yichu opened his mouth. After hearing Yichu's words, the Demon Lord nodded, and then the Demon Lord took Yichu and walked out of the library together. After a short time, Yichu and the Demon Lord walked out. He walked out of the library again. After walking out of the library, Yichu also quickly returned to his room, and Yamozi was also waiting for Yichu in Yichu's room. Yichu, this time you and the Demon Lord are looking for clues in the larger world. Have you found any clues? Yamozi opened his mouth, because Yamozi also saw the Demon Lord come to Yichu before, and then the Demon Lord seemed to have found some clues to tell Yichu, so at this time, Yamozi also had some in his heart. Curious. Because Yamozi came to the demon universe at this time, he also got a lot of benefits, and even his strength has risen a lot, much more than his strength has risen in hundreds of years. So this kind of thing in Yamozi's heart, it was also a little yearning, and Yamozi still wanted to go to other universes with Yichu. Yichu also smiled and nodded when he heard Yamozi say, but when he saw Yichu nodding, Yamozi felt even more joyful in his heart. Has Yichu really inquired about some news about the larger universe? If so, they should tell me quickly and let me listen carefully. Yamozi opened his mouth, and then Yamozi raised his head, looking at Yichu with anticipation. Yichu started talking to Yamozi after seeing Yamozi like this. Yamozi, according to our information, there is indeed the existence of a larger world, and in addition to this larger world, we have also discovered some other things. Yichu opened his mouth, and after hearing what Yichu said, he and Yamozi were also a little surprised, and then Yamozi looked at Yichu more expectantly, waiting for Yichu's next words. According to the information we have learned, in addition to a very large world, there are many universes like our Dragon Ball universe and the Majin universe. All kinds of universes exist. There are also a lot of life in these universes, and they also have their own civilizations. They are independent of each other, but they also have some relationship with each other. According to this, maybe we can find some clues, and then enter these universes. And then there will be great benefits. Quote. Yichu opened his mouth, and after hearing what Yichu said, Yamozi became a little surprised. Really, Yichu? If that's the case, that's great. This time you actually got such news. If this is the case, even if we can't get to the biggest world, we can still get to these universes similar to the demon universe. in the universe and then go for a walk. Quote. 3.5 Yamoshi opened his mouth. Yichu nodded. Then Yichu continued to discuss for a while. Yichu also took out some magic tea. These magic teas were given to Yichu before. Did the taste of these magic teas also be divine? Well, after Yamoshi tasted the magic tea that Yichu took out, his expression seemed to be very enjoyable, and even Yamoshi's strength increased a little bit. Good tea, Yichu. This magic tea is even more delicious than the tea we drank in the magic city before. Yamoshi looked very leisurely drinking the magic tea, and said, he was also very happy in his heart, and couldn't help but admire. When he drank this tea, he felt that all the troubles in his heart seemed to disappear, and the whole person it feels like a fluttering state, and even Yamoshi feels that he likes drinking tea a bit. 273. The Sixth Planet of Advent Demons, 1/6. Okay, Yamoshi, pack your things first. After a while, we're probably going to return to the Dragon Ball universe. After Yichu and Yamoshi finished drinking tea, Yichu opened his mouth and said to Yamoshi, this time is also the time of the sunset, and the afterglow of the setting sun falls on the two of them, making them more memorable. Feel. After hearing Yichu say this, Yamoshi also became a little surprised. During this period of time, he left the Dragon Ball universe and Yichu came to the Devil's universe. In fact, although he and Yichu were mixed here very good, but I still like Dragon Ball universe the most in my heart. Haha, Yichu is really good. If I go back to the Dragon Ball universe with you this time, I will be the most powerful expert besides you. I can show them a good look at that time. In the Dragon Ball universe many wonderful girls may also like me. Quote. Yamoshi opened his mouth and said, and he also became a little expectant in his heart. Yichu smiled when he heard Yamoshi say this. Yichu looked at the setting sun in the distance, and his mind also fell into memories. 18 Yichu's mind was different from Yamoshi's. Yichu thought of his wife and then his children. I've been away from the Dragon Ball universe for so long, and Chi-Chi must miss me a lot in her heart. I don't know what Yi Shaoxin has become in this period of time. His strength will definitely improve a lot, right? Knowing that his talent was born high. Yichu thought to himself that at this time he also thought of Wukong. Wukong should have really grown into a man who can be on his own at this time. I am also very looking forward to going back to see his scenes. He will definitely be impatient to show me his current progress. Yichu thought this in his heart, and he was looking forward to returning to the Dragon Ball universe. Then Yichu took a rest in it. After a few days, Yamoshi also prepared everything. Yichu, I'm ready, I can't wait to return to our universe, and now you can take me back to our universe. Yamoshi opened his mouth. Yichu nodded when he heard what Yamoshi said. At this time, the Lord of Demons came over from a distance. At this time, when the Lord of Demons saw Yichu and Yamoshi, he also paid attention, arriving at the expression that Yamoshi looked very excited and what Yamoshi was holding in his hand. Yichu, Yamoshi, the two of you dressed like this, are you going to leave our universe to answer yours? The Demon Lord came over and asked. He was also a little curious in his heart. After hearing the Demon Lord asking this, Yichu also nodded. After seeing Yichu nod, the Demon Lord felt a little bit in his heart. Joy, but also a touch of sadness. Yichu's strength is very strong. During this period of time, Yichu lived in his palace, and it was also the Demon Lord who felt that his status seemed to be threatened a little. But when Yichu was about to leave his palace and go to his own world, there was some reluctance in the Demon Lord's heart, because he lived with Yichu in his palace for a while, and in his heart he felt Yichu is also a little sympathetic to each other, and he is also very appreciative of Yichu. Looking all over the demon universe, you are the only one who can be regarded as a true friend to me. Now that you are leaving, my heart is also very reluctant. If so, let me send you off. The Demon Lord opened his mouth, and Yichu nodded when he heard the Demon Lord say this. Okay, since the Lord of the Demons also wants to send me, then come and send me. It is my honor to be sent back to our universe by the Lord of the Demons. Yichu opened his mouth, and after hearing Yichu's words, the Demon Lord also smiled slightly, and then Yichu and the Demon Lord walked into the distance, and Yamoshi was also following Yichu. Not long after, Yichu and the Demon Lord came to the 6th planet of the Demon Universe. There are 6 planets in the Demon Universe. The 6th planet is the weakest planet in the Demon Universe, but it is also very huge. The most powerful planet on this planet is the 6th planet General. In the past, the 6th planet General also suspected that Yichu was from the Dragon Ball universe. After Yichu left here, the 6th planet General began to release some information about catching Yichu, but there was no information for a long time. Catch Yichu. The 6th planet General also received news from the Demon Universe during this period of time. When he got this news, the 6th planet General was also extremely shocked. I once thought that Yichu was from the Dragon Ball universe, but now he is on an equal footing with the Demon Lord, and his strength and status are very large, but I actually wanted to catch him before. The 6th planet General thought so in his heart. Just when the 6th planet General thought so, he suddenly felt 2 huge breaths coming from above him. At this time, the 6th planet General was surprised, and then the 6th planet General was surprised. Planet General 720 also raised his head. Master, why are you here? At this time, the 6th planet General also saw that the person who came was the Master of the Devil, and besides the Master of the Devil, there was a very familiar person standing next to him. After seeing this person, the face of the 6th planet General also changed greatly. He stood up, because the person standing beside the Demon Lord was Yichu. When he saw Yichu, the 6th planet General's heart could be said to be extremely frightened. Now, in the 6th planet General's eyes, Yichu might be even more terrifying than the Demon Lord, because the Demon Lord. It's impossible for human sovereign to want to kill him for no reason, but he could be said to have offended Yichu before. At this time, Yichu saw the expression of the general of the 6th planet. When he saw the expression of the general of the 6th planet, Yichu also smiled. He didn't expect the general of the 6th planet to be so cute, and he seemed to be scared. Legs are weak. Lord Yichu, please forgive me. I didn't know your identity last time. I just did things with integrity. Master, please speak to Lord Yichu for me. Yichu didn't say anything at this time, when the 6th planet General suddenly opened his mouth in shock, and then the 6th planet General took another step forward, looking like he was going to kneel on the ground. 274. Frightened 6th planet General 2/6. Oh, I forgot that there was such a thing before. General 6th planet, you were so bold before that you dared to want Yichu. The Demon Lord opened his mouth, and after hearing the Demon Lord say this, the 6th planet General was even more frightened in his heart, and even almost urinated out of fear, and Yichu also smiled slightly at this time. Okay, don't scare him when the devil dominates you. General of the 6th planet, I understand what happened before, but I don't blame you, because you were really just doing things with justice, and I'm not arrogant. Unreasonable people. At this time, Yichu looked at the 6th planet General and opened his mouth. After listening to Yichu's words, the 6th planet General also relaxed in his heart, and then the 6th planet General raised his head. Grateful light flickers. Thank you, Lord Yichu. Thank you Lord Yichu for your forgiveness. The 6th planet General said, seeing that the 6th planet General was about to kneel down. Yichu also waved his hand gently, a burst of energy emerged from Yichu's hand, and then the 6th planet General's body straightened. Stand up. General of the 6th planet, I didn't come here this time to intimidate you, or to thank me, I just came here to use a teleportation formation on this planet, and then just go back into our universe. Yichu opened his mouth. This time is also the real purpose of his coming here. After hearing what Yichu said, the general of the 6th planet also stood up, and then stood beside Yichu looking somewhat ingratiating. It turns out that Lord Yichu wants to return to his hometown. If that's the case, then let me preside over this great formation myself, and then send Lord Yichu to your universe. The 6th planet general opened his mouth. Yichu nodded after hearing what the 6th planet general said, and then the 6th planet general took Yichu and Yamozi to a square in the distance. One time when I came into this universe, where I came. The square is extremely vast. There are some demon soldiers standing on the square. Yichu and Yamozi met with them when they first came here. At this time, these demons also looked down and their heads were lowered. Mian also knew that the person who had left from them before was actually Yichu. Lord Yichu, as long as you stand up with Yamoshi, I can activate this great formation and send you out tilde. The sixth planet general opened his mouth, and after hearing what he said, Yichu and Yamozi followed suit, and then Yichu and Yamozi stood on top of a 5-pointed star-shaped array above the square. When he stood here, the general started to use his own power to activate this great formation, and then the 5-pointed star at the feet of Yichu and Yamozi began to shine, and the light of the 5-pointed star became more and more bright. And the 5-pointed star also rose, shrouding Yichu and Yamozi in it, and then the two of them felt an incomparably strong space energy permeating them both. The next moment, Yichu and Yamozi went from disappeared in place. Devil Lord, maybe I will come to your universe again after a while. At the last moment when Yichu and Yamozi disappeared, Yichu also opened his mouth and said to the Demon Lord. The Demon Lord also smiled and waved to Yichu. Yichu and Yamozi disappeared in place. Yichu and Yamozi disappeared in place at this time, but they had already entered the space channel at this time. There are some differences between entering the space channel this time and the last time they saw the channel, because the last time they came here, it can be said that they were teleporting in the reverse direction, so it would take some time, but this time the teleportation was forward. Yes, so the speed is very fast. Not long after that, Yichu and Yamozi came to the Dragon Ball universe. Yichu later came out of the space teleportation. When the two of them stood in the Dragon Ball universe, their hearts were constantly fluctuating. Yichu had countless emotions surging in his heart. He wanted to see Chi-Chi and Yi Shaoxin immediately. There seems to be no difference in the Dragon Ball universe, but Yichu feels that there are still some differences between the Majin universe and the Dragon Ball universe, and the air here seems to have a more intimate feeling. At this time, Yichu was still in the secret realm of the Dragon Ball universe. Yichu looked at the secret realm. There was a great formation he set up in the secret realm. Then Yichu stepped forward and set up the formation again. If the demons come here from the demon universe, this large formation will no longer attack those demons, but will remind him. Because of Yichu's strength at this time, the previous dangers were not too dangerous for him, so Yichu didn't care about anything this time. Yichu, great, we finally returned to the Dragon Ball universe. Yeah, I can't wait to get back to my own planet too. Yichu opened his mouth, and there was a light of longing in his eyes. Come on, let me go at once. Yichu opened his mouth, and then Yichu and Yamozi quickly walked out of the Dragon Ball universe secret realm. After the two of them walked out, they immediately entered the Dragon Ball universe. At this time, Yichu's strength has been greatly improved, so his speed is comparable to that of the past. When Yichu returned to the universe at this time, he moved towards the Dragon Ball universe and sensed it. Although the universe is incomparably vast, in Yichu's Qian Li Zhao's heart, he felt that there was some familiar aura in a certain direction in the distance. Chu's heart was constantly fluctuating. Yichu knew in his heart that the place where these breaths were located was the seventh universe, and the seventh universe also had its own planet. Presumably, Chi-Chi and Bulma were on that planet now. Immediately afterwards, Yichu flew towards his planet. Not long after that, Yichu came to the seventh universe, and then he teleported again, and instantly went outside of his planet. At this time, Yichu also I saw my own planet. Yichu has been away for a period of time. During this period of time, Yichu's planet has also developed very rapidly. It has truly become the largest planet in the Dragon Ball universe, and the Saiyans have also become the largest race in the Dragon Ball universe. 275. Return to the Dragon Ball universe, 3/6. There are many talents in the Saiyan family, and many Saiyans have also become kings on other planets in the universe. Even the gods have many masters of the Saiyan family. When Yichu saw his planet, his heart was constantly fluctuating, and then Yichu walked towards his planet. At this time, there were many Saiyans standing on the planet. At this time, the Saiyans on Yichu's planet saw it, a figure slowly coming towards their planet against the light. These Saiyans also became a little surprised in their hearts, because when they looked at this figure, although they didn't see who it was, there was a feeling in their hearts that they wanted to kneel down. Then, who is it? Why, when I saw him, it seemed like I saw a Supreme Emperor. A Saiyan murmured, and his heart was also extremely shocked. That's our Emperor. At this time, an older Saiyan spoke up, and his heart felt extremely excited, because this old Saiyan was also very strong, so he could see Yichu at a glance. At this time, in the Dragon Ball universe, King Quan also sensed Yichu's breath. At this time, he also became a little excited. During the period of 883 that Yichu left, although the Dragon Ball universe seemed very calm, but King Quan also missed the days when Yichu was there, because the days when Yichu was there seemed to be like the days when they were really alive, very passionate. Immediately afterwards, King Quan set off from his palace to look for Yichu. On Yichu's planet, at this time in a very luxurious palace, two very luxurious-looking girls also stood up. These two girls were Kiki and Bulma. Compared to when Yichu left the Dragon Ball universe, Chi-Chi and Bulma looked more luxurious. At this time, the two were doing their business, and then Chi-Chi suddenly stood up, even the things in her hands. Can't even care. Bulma, do you feel it? Yichu seems to be back. Kiki stood up and muttered. Hearing Chi-Chi say this, Bulma nodded, and she also had the same feeling in her heart, and then Chi-Chi and Bulma ran towards the outside, because they were sure that Yichu had returned. Bide, Emperor. Indeed, our Emperor. At this time, the Saiyans on Yichu's planet also saw Yichu, and when they came back, they all began to kneel down towards Yichu. Surge. It has always been said that their Emperor Yichu went to another universe, but they don't know what happened to him. When they saw Yichu coming back at this time, they felt that their race was truly complete. Yichu watched countless Saiyans kneeling down to him, and was extremely happy in his heart, because these Saiyans also respected him very much. Husband. At this time, there was a loud shout in the distance, and then Yichu saw Chi-Chi and Bulma rushing towards him. Chi-Chi and Bulma rushing towards Yichu, their expressions looked like also very excited. When they saw the figure in the sky, they could see that this was indeed Yichu, because they had already known Yichu very well during the time they spent with Yichu, and Yichu had when they left in the universe. Kiki and Bulma also missed Yichu very much. Their impression of Yichu not only did not lighten, but became even more profound, so when they saw Yichu's figure, they recognized Yichu at a glance. Chi-Chi and Bulma ran wildly towards Yichu. Their bodies looked very anxious. When Yichu saw Chi-Chi and Bulma like this, he felt a little happy in his heart, but because Chi-Chi and Bulma were like this, he felt a little happy. Bulma's strength is not that strong, so it will take some time for them to reach Yichu's side. Yichu's face couldn't help showing some smiles, and then Yichu moved. The next moment Yichu appeared in front of Chi-Chi and Bulma, and hugged Chi-Chi and Bulma tightly. Tight. Kiki, Bulma, I'm back, you don't have to worry. Yichu gently hugged Chi-Chi and Bulma's bodies, and then said softly, after hearing Yichu's words, Chi-Chi and Bulma also fell silent, their chests kept rolling, and there was something inside their bodies. The heat flow is surging. Kiki and Bulma couldn't help shedding tears. All the thoughts about Yichu turned into tears. Yichu raised his hand after feeling the tears of the two of them. Stroking his back. Okay, didn't I come back? This is something to be happy about, don't be sad. Yichu spoke softly. Chi-Chi and Bulma also wiped their tears, raised their heads. There were some tears in their eyes, but a smile appeared on their faces, looking at Yichu. Yichu was right. Yichu came back this time and they were very happy in their hearts, but they couldn't help but shed tears for some reason. Yichu looked at Kiki and Bulma. He found that after he left for a while, Kiki and Bulma also had the temperament of another superior person, and Kiki and Bulma became more beautiful. Getting up, Yichu even wanted to linger with them immediately, At this time, there were also some in the distance. Yi Chu's friends came over, and they were also watching the scene of Yi Chu and Chi-Chi Bulma embracing from a distance. Some people have some envy in their hearts, while others have some blessings in their hearts. At this time, King Quan also came to the outside of Yi Chu's planet. When Yi Chu really came back, King Quan became a little more peaceful in his heart. "Dad, you're finally back." At this time, there was a sound in the distance, and then Yi Chu turned his head to find a boy who couldn't walk towards him. This boy was Yi Xiaoshan. A few years have passed, and Yi Xiaoshan, who used to look a little immature, has become mature at this time, and there is some resolute light on his originally immature face. "Yi Xiaoshan, Dad has come back. Dad is very happy to see you." Yi Chu opened his mouth. 276. Goku's Girl 4/6. After hearing Yi Chu say this, Yi Xiaoshan also became a little overjoyed. Over the past few years, he has been training and working hard, and it seems that he is more diligent than anyone else. Because his talent is also very powerful, he naturally became the favored person in everyone's heart, and Yi Xiaoshan did this because he was Yi Chu's child. His incomparable efforts have always been in the hope of getting Yi Chu's approval, and now Yi Chu's praise has completely satisfied his heart, and he feels that all the hard work before is all worth it. Yi Chu looked at Yi Xiaoshan at this time. Yi Xiaoshan's eyes flashed with light. Yi Chu knew that Yi Xiaoshan must have been extremely hard during this period, but Yi Xiaoshan's progress was also obvious. Yi Chu also felt a little proud of Yi Xiaoshan. "Yi Xiaoshan, you really did a good job." Yi Chu said it again, and Yi Xiaoshan's heart became more satisfied. Yi Chu looked around at this time, but couldn't find Wukong. "By the way, Kiki, where did Wukong go?" Yi Chu opened his mouth, and after hearing Yi Chu say this, Chi-Chi still answered Tilda get up. "Yi Chu, actually you don't know, after you left this Dragon Ball universe for a while, Wukong's strength has been greatly improved, and Wukong's status has also improved a lot. More importantly, Wukong has a favorite girl." Chi-Chi opened her mouth. After hearing Chi-Chi say this, Yi Chu was also a little surprised. He didn't expect Wukong to find a girl he liked, and he didn't know what the girl was like. "Can Kiki take me to see Wukong?" Yi Chu opened his mouth. After hearing Yi Chu's words, Chi-Chi nodded and was about to take Yi Chu to see Wukong. At this moment, two figures suddenly appeared in the distance. One of the figures seems to be a very handsome and sunny person, and this person is Wukong. There is also a girl standing next to Wukong. This girl looks extremely beautiful, and he has a youthful and sunny atmosphere. "Brother Yi Chu, you are finally back." Wukong stood in the distance and opened his mouth to Yi Chu. After hearing Wukong's words, Yi Chu also turned his head to look at Wukong and saw the two of them. "Wukong, you did a good job. I didn't expect that during the period of time I left, you also found a good girl." Yi Chu said, "This girl looks very good. His temperament and talent are all excellent, although his strength is a little lower than Wukong, but he is still relatively outstanding. Brother Yi Chu, his name is Suihua, and Suihua is also a member of the angel family." Wukong opened his mouth, and after hearing Wukong say this, Yi Chu was also a little surprised. He didn't expect that Suihua was actually from the angel family. Suihua looked at Yi Chu. His eyes seemed calm, but there seemed to be hidden in it with deep feelings. "Haha, Wukong, Suihua and you are both very good. When are you going to get married? If you get married, don't forget to invite me to participate, then I will eat your wedding candy and drink you wedding wine." Quote. Yi Chu opened his mouth. Hearing Yi Chu say this, Wukong also felt a little happy inside, and Suihua also smiled at Yi Chu. When he saw Wukong like this, Yi Chu was very happy in his heart, and he began to feel relieved for Wukong. And Wukong's current strength is very strong, but he doesn't seem to pursue the strength much, but put all his energy into Suihua's body. Wukong seems to be very considerate to Suihua, protect Suihua, let Suihua is also very happy. Both of them seem extremely happy. Maybe the two of them will get married after a while. Yi Chu thought so in his heart. "Husband, You must have a child with me when you come back this time. At this time, Bulma also came over, shook Yichu's arm and said. Yichu couldn't help but smile after hearing a Bulma say this. Yichu agreed to Bulma, but whether or not a child could be born depends on chance. Alright, this time Yichu's return is a very important matter, we must give Yichu a good welcome. At this time, King Quan came over to speak. After hearing King Quan say this, everyone nodded, because at this time they were very happy in their hearts. So they were also preparing to hold a very important party to welcome them. Let's go to Yichu. Yichu nodded after hearing what they said. Yamoshi stood beside Yichu, and there was some expectation in his heart. Immediately afterwards, Yichu and Yamoshi lived on Yichu planet, and during the few days they lived on Yichu planet, a major party began to be held on Yichu planet. A few days later, Yichu's welcome party had already been held. So everyone who was familiar with Yichu came here, and the more powerful people in the Dragon Ball universe could come here to participate in this party. This party is very grand. Almost all the well-known masters in the Dragon Ball universe have come to participate, and the influence of this party has also spread to the ordinary people of the Dragon Ball universe. The entire Dragon Ball universe looks very happy and harmonious. Yichu also brought it out at the party. The Demon Dragon Ball universe got some things. In the Demon Dragon Ball universe, there are also many good things. These things were also given to Yichu by the Demon Lord before. The quantity there were a lot of Yichu, and this time he took out some of them. It contains some precious treasures, delicious divine fruit, and some magic tea, each of which can be said to be the best, so this banquet is also for all the participants to praise. Yichu was the focus of everyone at the banquet. In the banquets he walked through again and again, countless experts raised their glasses to Yichu, and they also respected Yichu very much. Thinking back to the first time they saw Yichu, their hearts were filled with emotion. It didn't seem like much time had passed, but Yichu had already become the ruler of their Dragon Ball universe, and even King Quan couldn't see it. The depths of the clear leaves in autumn have faded. I just feel that Yichu is like a vast ocean now. He is like a small boat in the vast ocean. As long as Yichu gets angry, he can easily overturn him. Up. 277. One night 5/6. This party was held for 10 days and 10 nights, and after the 10 days and 10 nights passed, Yichu and Chi-Chi Bulma once again lived in the same room at the end of the party. Husband, we haven't been intimate for a long time. Chi-Chi opened her mouth and crawled towards Yichu. Chi-Chi was lying on top of Yichu's body, touching Yichu's body with his tender skin. Bulma was also lying beside Yichu. Her clothes were half unbuttoned, and she was full of temptation. Bulma's hands were constantly stroking Yichu's chest. Yichu's strong chest also made Bulma very attractive. The heart is constantly fluctuating. Husband, I haven't seen you for a while. You seem to have added a little more charm. Bulma stroked Yichu's chest with her hand and whispered, 033, in Yichu's ear. Yichu smiled when she heard Bulma say this. In fact, Yichu knew in his heart why this was, because Yichu's strength had increased a lot, and he had experienced so many things, and the field of freedom and extreme intention was getting deeper and deeper, and Yichu gradually formed a temperament. That is a supreme temperament. Therefore, even people who saw Yichu for the first time would be infected by Yichu's temperament, and they wanted to surrender to Yichu. Bulma and Chi-Chi looked at Yichu. Not only did their eyes have spring waves, they stroked Yichu's chest, and their hearts were beating constantly, and they couldn't wait to jump on Yichu's body. Husband, it's not easy for you to meet us again, this time we'll have to linger for a while longer. Bulma opened her mouth, and Bulma rushed towards Yichu the next moment, hanging directly on Yichu's body. Serving Yichu together. Fluttering like a fairy, like a dream, Yichu's presence in such a feeling is also extremely happy in his heart. It's a pity that the spring night dream was short, and the night passed quickly. The next morning light fell on Chi-Chi's room, while Yichu and Chi-Chi Bulma were both lying on the bed. At this time, Chi-Chi was lying on Yichu's body, and Bulma was also lying beside Yichu, and Yichu's hand was on Bulma's chest. Bulma turned her body, her chest pressed Yichu's hand under it, and Yichu slowly opened her eyes. Seeing the boundless scenery, Yichu's mouth showed a satisfied smile. Thinking of what happened last night, his heart was filled with satisfaction. Although Yichu wanted to be like last night, Yichu knew that these things could be done at any time, and he still had more important things to do. Then Yichu sat up silently and put on his clothes. At this time, Chi-Chi and Bulma also woke up. When they looked at Yichu, their eyes were filled with contentment and tenderness. "Husband, are you getting dressed so soon?" Chi-Chi asked Yichu, and Yichu nodded after hearing Chi-Chi like this. "Yeah, Kiki Bulma, I also miss the lingering time with you, but now I also have to put on my own clothes and go out to deal with some other things." Yichu opened his mouth. After hearing Yichu say this, Chi-Chi and Bulma felt a little disappointed in their hearts, but they also understood Yichu. "Okay, if that's the case, let's put some clothes on for you." Chi-Chi Bulma opened her mouth, and then Chi-Chi Bulma picked up Yichu's clothes and helped Yichu wear them a little bit. Yichu also felt extremely comfortable. "Go." When Yichu opened the door, a cool breeze blew on Yichu's body, making Yichu feel that his body and mind were also extremely comfortable. Yichu was walking on his own planet, and there were people coming and going around him. Looking at his prosperous planet, Yichu's heart was filled with extreme happiness, as if he was watching a child born by him grow up. For Yichu, Yi Shaoxin is his own child, and Yichu planet is like Yichu's child. "I've been with my husband for so long this time, should I be pregnant with my own child?" After Yichu left, Bulma looked at her stomach and thought. During this period of time, although Yi Shaoxin was also extremely good and Bulma liked Yi Shaoxin very much, Bulma felt a little regretful in her heart, because Bulma also wanted to have a real child of her own. When Yichu was walking on his planet, all the Saiyans also saw Yichu. Their eyes were full of longing light. Looking at Yichu, even if Yichu didn't say anything, he didn't do anything. What action came out, but their hearts were inexplicably full of motivation, and they began to work very hard on their own affairs. Yichu looked at them, and was extremely satisfied in his heart. He nodded to them from afar, so seeing Yichu nodding, everyone was even more excited, and the entire Yichu planet was filled with vibrant scene. Yichu immediately walked out of his own planet and came to the Dragon Ball universe. After Yichu came to the Dragon Ball universe, you walked a few steps towards the Dragon Ball universe and found that the Dragon Ball universe was also a harmonious scene. Yichu, I was even happier in my heart. Immediately afterwards, Yichu began to walk in the Dragon Ball universe. This time, his first purpose was to visit the Dragon Ball universe, and his second purpose was to find some clues about other universes. Shuttled through the Dragon Ball universe. Many people also saw Yichu's figure. When they saw Yichu's body, their hearts were filled with a kind of feeling. The feeling of stability. It seems that there is no longer any worries in life. Yichu was like a pillar of the sky, holding up the sky in the Dragon Ball universe steadily, giving them a stable home. This is my Dragon Ball universe, this is my home. From now to the future, this place will definitely be stronger. Standing in the starry sky of the Dragon Ball universe, Yichu said lightly, and his heart was full of longing. At this time, Yichu's heart moved slightly, because he felt that the formation in the Dragon Ball universe secret realm seemed to be triggered. And the moment the formation was triggered, the information of the person who came was also passed on to Yichu, and Yichu also knew in his heart who came to the Dragon Ball universe. 278. Extraordinary Dragon Ball Universe, 6/6. It turned out to be the Lord of the Demons who came to the Dragon Ball universe. It seems that he is also very curious about our Dragon Ball universe. Yichu thought in his heart that even though the Demon Lord came to the Dragon Ball universe, Yichu was not too worried, because at this time Yichu's strength had already been dominated by the Demon Lord, and Yichu was in the Dragon Ball universe. This is his home ground again. If he wants to fight, he can easily defeat the Demon Lord. I don't know what happened to him when he came here this time. I'll go and ask him. Yichu thought to himself, and then Yichu walked towards the distance. When the Demon Lord came to the Dragon Ball universe, his heart was full of curiosity. He looked into the Dragon Ball universe and immediately sensed the scene in the Dragon Ball universe. He felt that the Dragon Ball universe was very harmonious. The human ruler's heart is also filled with a little bit of envy. I don't know what Yichu is doing at this time. He probably doesn't know I'm here, right? The Demon Lord thought in his heart, and when he was about to leave as soon as he moved, he suddenly felt a little space fluctuation in the distance, and then the Demon Lord turned to his own head. It was found that Yichu came out of the space. Yichu was arrogant, walked out of the space, and when he saw Yichu walking directly here, the Demon Lord also became a little surprised in his heart. Yichu, do you know that I'm here? The Demon Lord opened his mouth to ask, and he was very surprised in his heart. After hearing the Demon Lord asking this, Yichu nodded slightly, and the Demon Lord was also a little worried in his heart, because he didn't know in his heart. How did Yichu find out that he was in the Dragon Ball universe? But the Demon Lord didn't ask much. Yichu, the reason why I came to the Dragon Ball universe this time is to find clues about other universes with you, shouldn't you mind? The Demon Lord didn't know why he was a little nervous in his heart, then he opened his mouth and asked. Yichu also nodded after hearing the Demon Lord like this, and he didn't mind that much in his heart. If the Demon Lord came to the Dragon Ball universe, and then looked for clues from other universes together, it might be of great help to him, because the strength of the Demon Lord is in the Dragon Ball universe. No one but himself can do it. Comparable. Okay, Lord of the Demons, since you want to come here to find clues in other universes with me, how could I refuse you? It's also very helpful to me, and I'd like to thank you for coming here. Yichu opened his mouth, and after hearing what Yichu said, the Demon Lord also nodded, and he also had a lot of kindness in Yichu's heart. The Demon Lord came here this time. In fact, on the one hand, he wanted to find out clues about other universes with Yichu, but he actually had another thing, and that was about Boo. Boo once calculated in the Dragon Ball universe that he was finally checked by Yichu, but there are a lot of things left in the absence of it. As for Boo, the Demon Lord is also a little curious, because Boo is actually longer than his survival time. It's just because Boo has been sleeping in the Dragon Ball universe, so Boo's strength has not increased too much, so he was easily defeated by Yichu, but I don't know why Majin Buu has been sleeping all the time. Yichu, in fact, I came here for one more thing. I wanted to find some clues about Boo. The Demon Lord opened his mouth, and Yichu was also a little surprised when he heard the Demon Lord say this. Master of the Demons, you should also know that Boo was killed by me. Yichu opened his mouth, and so did the Demon Lord, shaking his head. Yichu, the reason why I am looking for Boo is not to be revenged by Boo, but because Boo has a lot of secrets. He has a very long history, and his origin is even deeper than mine. He's been sleeping in your Dragon Ball universe, so he's not that powerful. The Demon Lord opened his mouth, and Yichu was also slightly surprised after hearing the Demon Lord say this. According to the information I got, Boo should have lost his previous memory, and he doesn't know why he has been sleeping all the time. That's why he is like this. The Demon Lord opened his mouth, Yichu nodded, and then Yichu and the Demon Lord searched for a while in the Dragon Ball universe, but they didn't find too many clues. However, the Demon Lord also discovered something unusual. The Demon Lord frowned, and Yichu also saw the Demon Lord's frown. The Demon Lord, why are you frowning so tightly? Did you find something? Yichu looked at the Demon Lord and asked. After hearing Yichu's words, the Demon Lord also began to explain. Yichu, after I walked in your Dragon Ball universe for a while, I found that your Dragon Ball universe may be more mysterious than we thought. The Demon Lord opened his mouth. These are some of the things he discovered during this period of time, and the reason why Yichu didn't find such a 913 thing is because Yichu has always been in the Dragon Ball universe, just like a fish living in water but feeling it's not like water, so he didn't find such a thing. After hearing the Demon Lord say this, Yichu was also extremely surprised. Oh, Demon Lord, there is such a thing, can you tell me in detail? Yi Chu opened his mouth, and after hearing what Yi Chu said, the Demon Lord was silent for a while, then raised his head and started talking to Yi Chu. Yi Chu, although your Dragon Ball universe looks very weak and simple on the surface, it's not just that. And I learned from the news before that your Dragon Ball universe seems to be created by the Dragon God, but I also discovered some different things during this period of time. Although your Dragon Ball universe seems to be created by the Dragon God, it is not the case. The Dragon God is just based on your universe, and then adds some more. As for the original appearance of your Dragon Ball universe, it seems to be hidden very deeply. It hasn't been revealed yet. The Demon Lord continued to say. After hearing the words of the Demon Lord, waves of waves rose in Yi Chu's heart. 279. The Demon Lord as a guest 1/6. Yi Chu carefully thought about what the Demon Lord said, and felt a little abnormal in his heart. It seemed that it was what the Demon Lord said, and Yi Chu felt more and more in his heart. I didn't discover these things in the past. Fortunately, you reminded me of the Master of the Devil. Now that I think about it, it seems to be the case. Yi Chu opened his mouth, and his heart was constantly surging. He turned his head and looked into the Dragon Ball universe. He always felt that the Dragon Ball universe seemed a little unfamiliar. There are many secrets hidden in the seemingly ordinary Dragon Ball universe. At this time, Yi Chu also remembered something. When he entered the demon universe, he did not find that he could travel through time and space in the demon universe. Thinking of what happened in the Dragon Ball universe, Yi Chu's heart became even more volatile. After a while, Yi Chu finally calmed down the fluctuations in his heart. Yi Chu, although we haven't found any other clues for the time being, if we look for it, maybe we can find clues from other universes. The Demon Lord opened his mouth, and Yi Chu nodded after hearing what the Demon Lord said. After a while, the two of them still couldn't find any clues about other universes, and then Yi Chu could only bring the Demon Lord to his planet. Yi Chu and the Demon Lord came to his own planet. When Yi Chu and the Demon Lord came to the outside of Yi Chu's planet, the people on Yi Chu's planet also felt these two very large auras in the sky. One of the breaths they were very familiar with was Yi Chu's breath, but the other breath made them very scared. Because they felt that it was a very large devil's breath, because the devil used to be a disaster in the Dragon Ball universe, so the people on Yi Chu planet are also familiar with the devil's breath. What's going on? How can there be the aura of a demon outside, and the aura is so powerful tilde? The people on Yi Chu's planet became a little terrified, and even though Yi Chu didn't enter his planet at this time, he still felt the situation on his planet. The devil dominates, you should hide the breath of your body, the people on my planet are already a little scared. Yi Chu opened his mouth, and after hearing Yi Chu's words, the Demon Lord nodded, and then the Demon Lord used a secret technique to cover up his aura. He also looked like an ordinary person, but if you sensed it carefully, if so, you can also feel that there is an incomparably powerful energy in his body. Okay, now you can go to my planet. Yi Chu opened his mouth, and then Yi Chu took the Demon Lord to use space to shuttle to his planet. At this time, Wukong, Quanwang and the others also ran out. What's the matter? Is there a demon attacking? King Quan opened his mouth, and Wukong was also very frightened when he stood beside him. At this time, Yamosi stepped forward. Everyone, don't worry too much, it's just a demon friend of Yi Chu who came here. Yamosi opened his mouth, because Yamosi was also familiar with the aura of the Demon Lord, so at this time he knew that the Demon Lord was coming, and Yamosi also knew the relationship between the Demon Lord and Yi Chu. So at this time he opened his mouth and said, after hearing Yamosi's words, the people around were extremely surprised. At this time, they looked into the air and saw Yi Chu and the Demon Lord. The Demon Lord was standing beside Yi Chu and respected Yi Chu very much. Haha, don't panic, let me introduce to you that this is the Master of the Devil, my friend, he is not hostile to us. Yi Chu opened his mouth, and after hearing Yi Chu's words, the Demon Lord nodded as well. After seeing the appearance of the two, the people on Yi Chu's planet also relaxed. King Quan also looked closely at the Demon Lord. At this time, he was still a little surprised, because just now, King Quan felt that the Demon Lord was very powerful, and he couldn't resist it at all. And Yi Chu has been hiding his strength, so King Quan doesn't know what Yi Chu's strength is, but when he saw the aura emerging from the Demon Lord, King Quan also guessed Yi Chu a little bit. Strength, because the Demon Lord also respected Yi Chu very much before, it seemed that Yi Chu's status seemed to be a little higher than that of the Demon Lord. It's unimaginable, has Yi Chu's strength reached this level now? King Quan thought of it, and his heart was also a little admirable. Haha, everyone, don't panic, I don't mean anything, just like what Yi Chu said. At this time, the Demon Lord opened his mouth, and after hearing the words of the Demon Lord, everyone became more relaxed, and the Demon Lord was also another secret method, which made his voice carry a very soft energy, so that all the people my heart also became a little more relaxed. Quote. Since it is Yi Chu's friend, then we will definitely entertain you. At this time, Chi-Chi also came over to speak. Chi-Chi was not so flustered in her heart, because Yi Chu was his husband, and Yi Chu was not so flustered when she saw the Demon Lord, so Chi-Chi was not so flustered in her heart. The Panic Factory. Okay, everyone, just go down and prepare a few dishes, and then come to entertain the Demon Lord. Yi Chu opened his mouth. Chi-Chi and Bulma also went down and prepared the dishes for them. Yi Chu and the Demon Lord also stood there, and the Demon Lord looked at Yi Chu's planet and was somewhat amazed. Good. Yi Chu's planet was not extremely brilliant in the eyes of the Demon Lord, but the Demon Lord also saw the potential of Yi Chu's planet. The Lord of Demons roughly sensed the planet Yi Chu, and immediately sensed the existence of some outstanding talents. Yi Chu, your planet is incredible. In the future, the strength of the people on your planet will be very high. Although your Dragon Ball universe doesn't seem to be very powerful at this time, with your leadership, after a period of time, the strength of your Dragon Ball universe will be very happy, even surpassing ours. The Demon Lord opened his mouth, and Yi Chu also nodded at this time. At this time, after the Demon Lord continued to improve his surroundings, his heart became a little surprised, because at this time, the Demon Lord felt some demon breath. 280. EPUB's disappearance 2/6. Yi Chu, are there still possessed people on your planet? The Demon Lord opened his mouth. After hearing what the Demon Lord said, Yi Chu thought about it and nodded. There was no Demon Lord on his planet, but there was an EPUB. Because EPUB absorbed some of it, he also had some devilish aura on him. The Lord of the Demons, I think you should be talking about EPUB. At this time, I will find EPUB to show you, and you will know. Yi Chu opened his mouth, and after hearing Yi Chu say this, the Demon Lord was also surprised in his heart, and then the Demon Lord looked at Yi Chu and wanted Yi Chu to call that EPUB over. Goku, where is EPUB now? You go and call him over and show us. Yi Chu said. He hadn't seen EPUB before, so he was also a little curious. He didn't know what EPUB was doing at this time, and Wukong and EPUB were very good friends, so Yi Chu also let Wukong go find EPUB. After hearing Yi Chu say this, Wukong also nodded. To be honest, he hadn't seen EPUB for a while. He had a good relationship with EPUB before, but at this time he has his own the girl I like, so I haven't stayed with EPUB for too long. Immediately afterwards, Wukong walked down, and after searching Yi Chu's planet for a while, he couldn't find EPUB's figure. Wukong was also a little curious, and walked back with this helplessness. Brother Yi Chu, we didn't find EPUB, and we don't know where EPUB went at this time. When Wukong spoke, he also had some doubts in his heart. After hearing Wukong's words, Yi Chu also became curious in his heart, and then Yi Chu stood up. His strength is incomparably high, and his mental power is also incomparably majestic, covering a large area around him in an instant. After Yi Chu searched the surrounding area for a moment, his heart also became a little surprised, because at this time he realized that EPUB was not on his planet. Where the hell did EPUB go? Yi Chu thought in his heart that he was also very curious, and then Yi Chu went down. He gathered a lot of people, and then searched for a while in the Dragon Ball universe, but still couldn't find any clues for EPUB. EPUB seems to have disappeared from the Dragon Ball universe, without the slightest impression, but also very surprised. Oops, it looks like EPUB may have disappeared and I don't know where. At this time, Yichu finally found out the news, and he became a little surprised in his heart. He didn't expect that EPUB would disappear inexplicably. Goku, how long has it been since you saw EPUB? Yichu opened his mouth and said to Wukong. Hearing Wukong and Yichu's question, Wukong and the others also shook their heads. Then Yichu continued to inquire. He found that no one had seen each other for 3 months. EPUB, because EPUB has always been alone, so they didn't notice it. EPUB has disappeared from the Dragon Ball universe, and I don't know where he went. Yichu opened his mouth, and he was very puzzled. Yichu had a little doubt that EPUB might not be in the Dragon Ball universe, because if he was in the Dragon Ball universe, he couldn't get any news. Sorry for the Master of the Devil, I originally wanted to introduce EPUB to you, but I didn't expect EPUB to disappear, and I don't know where it went. Yichu turned his head and said to the Demon Lord. After the Demon Lord heard Yichu say this, he also became a little puzzled in his heart. What's so special about Yichu's EPUB? Can you tell me, Biff, in detail? The Demon Lord opened his mouth, and he was also very curious about this EPUB in his heart, because he had sensed some demon's breath before, but Yichu was going to find EPUB, so he was also intuitive in his heart, feeling that EPUB may have something to do with the devil. Devil Lord, in fact, EPUB is the reincarnation of Boo, and he also absorbed Boo in the end, and he also has a very strong talent, and his strength is relatively high, but at this time, I don't know why, he disappeared in this Dragon Ball universe. Inside. Yichu opened his mouth. After hearing what Yichu said, the Demon Lord was also extremely surprised. He didn't expect that EPUB was the reincarnation of Boo. Yichu, according to what you said, that EPUB might indeed have disappeared in your Dragon Ball universe, because Boo has many secrets hidden in his body, and EPUB also absorbed Boo. The original secret luck of Boo is also transferred to EPUB, even more than before. We can't predict where he goes, but maybe one day we can see him again. The Demon Lord opened his mouth, and he felt a little regretful in his heart, because when he heard Yichu say this, he became even more curious about EPUB, but EPUB had already disappeared in the Dragon Ball universe at that time, so he was also couldn't find any clues to EPUB. Yichu sighed, and then Yichu could only go down with the Demon Lord, and Yamoshi and King Quan ran over to ask Yichu what clues Yichu was looking for, especially Wukong seemed very worried about the future. I thought something happened to EPUB. Brother Yichu, where did EPUB go? I don't know how he is doing now. Wukong came over with some worry in his eyes, and asked Yichu. After hearing Wukong's question, Yichu also shook his head. Wukong, don't worry, EPUB is impossible to do anything. You have to know that EPUB has a lot of secrets, and his talent is not much inferior to yours. Even if he goes to other universes, I believe he must be doing well too. Quote. Yichu opened his mouth. After hearing Yichu's words, Wukong's heart was inexplicably relaxed. Then Wukong nodded and walked to the side. During this period of time, Yichu took the Demon Lord to familiarize himself with his own Dragon Ball universe, and the Demon Lord was a little nostalgic for it, but they were still looking for clues in other universes, but they haven't been looking for it for a long time. To what clues?